let's start here. Okay, let's start Microsoft Excel here. Okay, and let's start working on this software here. That what is this software, how can you use this software, okay, how this software is important here. Okay, we are going to see all of these things here. We are going to start with the very basic here. We are going to start with the very basic of Microsoft Excel here. Okay, so even if you do not know anything else, you will not face any problem here. Okay, because we are going to start with the very basic. Okay, so let's start Microsoft Excel here. So first of all, whatever I have open in front of you, what you can see here, this is called an Excel sheet. Okay, this is called an Excel sheet here. As you can see, these check boxes. As you can see, all of these check boxes here, this is called an Excel sheet here. In this Excel sheet, you try to write your values, you try to write your data, numerical values, text values. Okay, whatever data you are trying to store, you try to store in this grid here. Okay, you can call this a grid, or you can call this check boxes here. But in this area, in this field, you try to store your values here. Okay, your numerical values and your text values here. Okay, now if you try to see here, this grid is consisted of two dimensions. Okay, your one dimension is called column, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That is your one dimension. It is called the columns. Okay, and these are called the rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are called the rows here. Okay, so with the help of these two dimensions, columns and rows, okay, this area is prepared, this grid is prepared, and in this grid, in this area, you try to write your values, you try to write your data here. Okay, now the data also has two dimensions. Every data that you try to work on, every data that you try to store has two dimensions. One dimension is called a column, another dimension is called a row here. Okay, so column represent the features of your data. So whatever kind of data you have available, okay, whatever kind of data you are trying to store, column represent the features of your data, and rows represent the entries of your data. So first entry, second entry, third entry, fourth entry, fifth entry, and so on. Okay, so these columns, these columns generally represent the features of your data, and these rows represent the the entries of your data, that what entry you are trying to enter in your Excel sheet. Okay, so this is called an Excel sheet here. Now this single box in this grid, this single box is called a cell. Okay, in this entire grid area, in this entire checkbox area, this single box is called your cell here. In this cell, you can store one kind of value. Either you can store a text value, or you can store a numerical value, or you can store some kind of date here. Okay, or you can create some kind of formula here. Whatever you want to do, you try to do into this single box here, and this is called a cell here. This is called a cell here. Okay, so that is what is possible here. That is how you have this cell here, and in this cell you try to write your value. Now every cell in this grid has an address. Okay, just like your house address, just like your office has an address, in the same way, if you want to uniquely identify a particular cell, then it has a one kind of an address here. Okay, and that address is very important. With the help of that address, you try to work on many operations here, such as creating some kind of formula here, okay, and performing some kind of operation here. That is something you can do with the help of that address here. This is called cell referencing. Okay, this is called cell referencing here. So for example, just like you have a name, I have a name, these are our unique reference. Okay, your name is your reference, my name is my reference. In the same way, any cell that you have available here, it has a particular kind of a address here. That is what we call cell reference. Okay, that is what we call a cell reference. So for example, if I select, let's say, this cell, okay, if I select this cell, then what is the address of this cell? So address is created with the help of column name and row number. Okay, every column address, every cell address is created with the help of column name and cell number here. So for this particular cell, the column name is E, okay, and the row name is 5. So what should be the reference for this particular cell? It will be first of all column name, then the row name. So it will be E5. The cell name will be E5. You can see the reference of any cell name here. See at this place, in this small box. In this small box, in this top right hand side area, you can see the reference of your cell here, that what is the address of that particular cell here. Okay, so that is what is possible here. This is called cell reference. So every cell inside your Excel sheet has a kind of a reference here. Okay, and this reference is very important because in the future when you will try to create formula, you try to create some kind of operation here, you can do that with the help of this cell reference here. Okay, now in these cell you can write any kind of value here. You can write some kind of text value, you can write some kind of numerical value. Okay, whatever you want to write here, whatever you want to write here, you will be able to write here. Okay, so for example, okay, I am taking one as an example here in order for you to understand more properly here. I am going to take an example of the data of, let's say, monthly budget. Okay, how much money a particular person spend in a month. Okay, that is the example I am taking so that I can help you understand more properly here that how these cells, how this Excel work here. Okay, so I am taking an example of monthly budget here. So what I will do, first of all, you can write a heading here. So what can I do? I can write here something like monthly budget. I will write something like monthly budget here. That is, let's say I want as a heading. Okay, that is something I want as a heading here. So I will write something like this, monthly budget in my first cell. Okay, so monthly budget is written here. Monthly budget is written in my first cell. This is called a text value. This is called a text value. That is how you can store a text value inside your single cell of an Excel here. Okay, now if you try to see very properly, there is one something strange you will see here. You will see something strange here, that the name of this cell is inside in the below of B column as well. If you try to see, some part of the name is in this cell as well, in front of this cell as well. Now that is weird, that is wrong here. It should not be here, it should not be here, because if the boundary of a cell is up until here, then this value should not be here. Budget value should not be here. So what you can do, you can increase and decrease the size of your column as well in order to look it more better. Okay, in order for your Excel to make it look better, what you can do, whenever you try to write some value, the value goes outside of boundary. So what you can do, you can expand the boundary of any column as well. Okay, what you can do, just simply bring your cursor something like this here, like this, and you can expand here like this. So up until here, see, like this, I can drag and drop here. So that is what I can do here. That is called that is how you can expand the width of your column here. Okay, that is something you can do. You can do the same for B column, C column. Just simply bring your cursor to the outline here and you can drag it. You can drag it, and you will be able to change the length of the column as well. That is something you will be able to do. Okay, so I have written here monthly budget here. Now based on that, what I will do here, then after that, for example, let's say I have a monthly budget here. So for example, let's say I am writing here expenses. I am writing here expenses. That is my table number 1. This is my table number 1 here, expenses. Okay, I am trying to store the expenses of different kind of let's say different expenses of a person in a month on his domestic uses. Okay, whatever kind of bills they have. Okay, whatever kind of expenses they do in a month here. Okay, for a single person in their home. Okay, what are the expenses they have? So that is what I can write here. So for example, first of all, I can write rent. Let's say first of all I am writing rent here. Let me increase the resolution a little bit. Okay, so I am writing here rent. Rent is my first one. Okay, and then what I will do, after rent I will write here, this is my first row here. For example, this is my first row, and then I will write, let's say after rent I will write, let's say grocery. Okay, for how much we are spending on food. Okay, how much we are spending on different groceries for the home here. Okay, grocery, that is here. And then we have, let's say, tuition fees. Let's say the person is doing some kind of coaching classes. Okay, for example, let's say the person is doing some kind of course they are taking and some kind of coaching classes they are doing. So how much they are paying in tuition fees. Okay, that is, let's say, my one kind of expense. Then let's say I have another kind of expense here, maybe let's say credit card. Okay, how much money is we have to give per month On credit card, let's say that is my one column as well, and let's say transportation. How much spending on transportation, either on petrol for your own car, or you are spending for bus. Okay, bus ticket, train ticket, those kind of things, those are transportation here. Now for example, if these are my 5 columns here, okay, based on these 5 columns, let's say on column wise I have month on month. Okay, these are my rows here, okay, in which I have this data here, these rent, grocery, tuition fees, credit card, transportation. And then on the column wise, let's say I have here, uh, dates. Okay, date here. So for example, let's say July 2023. Okay, see, as soon as I will write July 2023, if you try to see very properly, the July 2023 is aligned to the right hand side of your cell. But if you write rent, grocery or tuition fees, it is aligned to the left hand side here. Why it is happening? Because these are your tax values, that is why it is aligned on the left hand side, but this is considered as a date here. Okay, this is a data type in its own. Okay, this is a data type in its own, and that is why it is on this side. Okay, now you can do again, let's say August 2023, and let's say September 2023. Okay, so that is what I can do here. See, automatically my Excel will automatically take these kind of month here. Okay, so I have 3 months of data for these things here: rent, grocery, tuition fees, credit card, transportation. Okay, so that is what is possible here. That is what you can do here. Now based on these values, you can do, you can pass some values here. Okay, you can pass now some numerical values here. So in July 2023, how much money is spent on rent here? For example, let's say 9,000. I am writing in rupees here. Okay, 9,000. Let's say how much on groceries? Let's say 5,600. How much on tuition fees? Let's say 3,000. How much on credit card? 4,800. And on transportation, let's say 2,100. Okay, that is much how I am spending on these different kind of expenses here. That is how you try to organize your data in Excel here. That you have all of these columns here, these kind of columns. That is how you have all these kind of rows here. Okay, and in these rows you try to organize your data like this. Okay, you can do the opposite of this as well. That you can have rent, grocery, tuition fees, credit card here, and here you can have month on month expenses here. Okay, that is something you can do as well. Okay, so now we have rent. Now in the rent, let's say I will write here, the rent is, let's say this time rent is increased by 400, so 9,400. Okay, grocery is reduced by some value, let's say 300, so 5,300. Okay, tuition fees is still 3,000, same. Credit card bill is still same, 4,800, and transportation is increased by 200, so 2,400. Okay, see, so that is how you can pass the data for August as well. Okay, then what you can do, you can pass the data for September as well. Let's say for September, let's say 9,600, 5,400. Okay, and let's say 2,800 tuition fees. Okay, and let's say 4,500, and the gross transportation is 2,000. Okay, so see, that is how you try to organize your data into columns and into rows here. Okay, so this is what is possible here. That is what you can do here. All of these kind of things are possible here. Okay, and then based on this, you will be able to perform your different kind of operation here. Okay, so let's start with the first kind of an operation here. What other things we can do? Okay, but before performing operation, you should know some commands here. Okay, there are some commands which are very important for you. These commands will be very helpful for you. Okay, such as what you can do, how you can make the selection. Okay, how you try to make a selection with the help of your keyboard here. These will be very helpful for you when you will try to work efficiently. Okay, so for example, what I am trying to do, let's say I want to select one column, so you can simply click on the cell, that column will be selected. Then what you can do, you can if you want to, let's say, select one column, right to it. So what you can do, you can press shift and you can simply press right key. See, the right column is also selected. I can again press shift right key, so again the next column will also be selected. That is how you can select the column uh, in a particular direction here. Okay, you can do the opposite as well. So shift plus shift here, and left key, left key, left key. That is how you can select here. You can do up and down as well. So I will select this cell, shift down, 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 or if you do up, up, then it will go again. It will be unselected, and you can go up as well. You can go right as well. You can go left as well. Okay, all these options are possible. Okay, and now you can do something like this as well. Shift right. So this will be selected. Then I can press down. So see, this will be selected. Now two cells are selected. Then the two cells below one is also selected. Okay. Now if I press right, see, the right hand side cells are also selected. Now if I press down, see, down are also selected, down are also selected, down are also selected. Okay. So that is how you can select your data with the help of this shift and your arrow keys. Okay, with the help of shift and arrow keys, you can select multiple columns at the same time as well. This is very handy. This is very helpful here when you will try to work on your data. Now, if you want to select, let's say, all data at one time. So what you can do, if you press control here and if you press right key, then you will go to the last of your cell. If I press control key and if I press right key, then I will go to the last of the cell in which my value is available. So which is September 23. So I will press right. See, my cell is directly jumps to September 23. If I am on expenses and if I press control right key, then I will directly jump to September 23. And if I am July 23 and if I press control and if I press down key, then I will go to the last cell here, see, which is 2100. Okay, so that is what is possible here. These are the commands here. These commands are important. Now if on the basis of these you want to select the data at the same time, so what you can do, I can press control, I can press shift, and then I can press right key. See, all the data will be selected at the same time. Now if I press control and down key, see, all the data is selected at the same time. Okay, so this is what is possible here. That is what you can do on your Excel file here. Okay, that is what is possible here. Okay, these commands are important here because with the help of these commands you can select your entire data at the same time. It will be very useful for you whenever you are trying to make some selections and you are trying to perform some kind of operations here. Okay, now let's move on and let's try to see what are the other things we can do as well. Now let's try to perform some operation. So the very basic operation we can perform in Microsoft Excel here is your simple mathematical operations. Okay, let's say you want to find total here. Okay, let's say you want to find some kind of average here. Okay, if you want to find those kind of things here, then that is what is possible here. So what can I do? First of all, let me calculate the total here. First of all, let me show you how can you calculate total here. Okay, so what can I do in this particular cells here? I am trying to calculate total here. Okay, so whenever you try to perform these kind of operations here, your functions are very important and your formulas are very important. Okay, so first of all, let's start with formula here because that is the very basic. Formulas are very basic in data analytics here. If you want to analyze any of your data here, formulas are very basic here. You should know how to integrate any kind of formula here, and then we will use functions as well to perform operations. Okay, so what is the very basic rule here whenever you try to integrate any kind of formula in your Excel? Okay, whenever you try to integrate any kind of formula in your Excel, the very basic, the first thing you can do is to write equals to. Okay, remember this rule. Remember this rule. This rule is very important. Either you are creating some kind of formula here, either you are using some kind of function here. No matter what you are doing, no matter what you are doing, no matter what you are doing, as long as you are performing some kind of formula here or function here, this equals to is very important. After the equals to, you can write some kind of value here. Okay, so for example, if I want the total expenses of July, then I need the addition of all these three. So can I do something like this? Let's say 9,000 plus 5,600 plus 3000 plus 4800 plus 2100. Will I get the answer? If I do something like this, will I get the answer? I can press enter here. See, you will get the answer. You will get the answer for all of your values of whatever formula you have created: 9000, 5600, 3000, 4800, 2100. You are able to get the answer here. But we are able to get the answer, but is it the correct approach for finding these total values? Okay, what if I made a mistake? What if I made a mistake? This is not 5600. Let's say, what if this is 5900? If this is 5900, does that mean I have to change this value as well? I mean, if I do something like this, then that will not be efficient here. That would not be efficient here. If my value is changed here, if my value is changed here, then it would not be efficient here, because this value is still not changed. This value still has 5600. This value does not have 5900. This value has 5600. That is why this is wrong. This is why it is wrong here. If your value is changed after your performing formula, after performing the formula, if your value changed after it, then it will be problematic here, because now here you have incorrect value and here you have updated value. And that is why we never work on the values. We work on the cell reference. That is why I taught you about cell reference. That is why I told you about cell reference here, that whenever you try to create any kind of formula here, we don't try to use direct values. Instead we try to use reference here. So whenever you want to edit any formula here, just simply click on it and double click on it, and what you can do, you can remove all of these values. These values are not important. I will only keep equals to. And instead of adding the values here, I will try to add the reference. What is the advantage of adding reference? Because if you try to add the reference here, the value will be updated automatically if you change the value. If you change the value of any particular cell here, the value will be updated here. Okay, so that is what you will be able to do here. So for example, if this is my cell here, so that is B4. So I can write here B4. See, you can already see the cell is highlighted here because I write B4 plus this cell here. What is this cell? This cell is B5. This cell is B5 here. So B5. So B5. That is what is possible. It is now red here. Then plus this cell here, that is B6 here. So B6 plus this cell here. What is this cell? This cell is B7. So I will write B7 here. Okay, that is what is possible. Then you can write this cell here. What is this cell? This cell is B8. So I will write plus B8. Okay, so that is what is possible. Then I can press enter. After writing a formula, you can press enter, and now it will give you correct answer. Even if I change this value, now if I change this value to, let's say, 6100. So if I will press enter here, after changing my value, if I will press enter here, this lower value will change automatically. See, the value is changed automatically, and now it is 25,000. Okay, so that is what is formula here. That is how you can create your formula here, a very simple formula. That is how you can create a very simple formula here. This is what is possible here. Now let's do one more thing. Now what I want to do, I want this same formula for this cell as well, for these reference, and this cell as well for these reference. That is the same thing I am going to do. I want to do here. So do I have to write these things for this formula for here as well and this formula for here as well? No. See, if you have some kind of columns here, or if you have some kind of rows here in which you are trying to perform same operation, then what you can do, simply select your cell which has your formula, okay, and bring your cursor to this down right corner. Bring your cursor to the down right corner, and you can do something like this. Highlight it like this and drag it like this, and then drag it like this. What will happen if you do like this? See what I am doing. If I do something like this, then the formula in B9, the formula which I created in B9 will be copied to C9 and D9. And not only the formula will be copied, but its reference will also be updated. The reference will also be updated. If for B9 the formula was B4, B5, B6, B7, B8, B8, then the formula for C9 will be C4, C5, C6, C7, C8. Okay, that would become the formula for this one. Then what will be for D? For D it will be D4, D5, D6, D7, D8. See, the formula will be updated on its own. Oh, sorry. the formula will be updated on its own here. That is what you will be able to do here. Okay, and that is how you will be able to find this total here. Okay, so this is what is possible here. That is what you can do. Now you can perform the same things here as well. You can perform the same things here as well. So for example, if I want to find the total here, so the same thing I can do like this one as well. So the formula will be equals to B4 plus B4 plus B4, and I will press enter here and see that is the sum of these three values. That is how you are able to get that how much money I am spending on simple rent here. Okay, in these 3 months, how much money I am spending, or the customer is spending, or the person is spending on rent here. Then you want to find the same thing for grocery, tuition fees, credit card, and transportation as well. Then what you can do, select this particular cell, bring your cursor to the top down corner, and you can simply see the same way. Just like you are doing it right hand side, you can do it in the this way as well, and see the formula will be copied. The formula will be copied here as well. The formula is available for this one, the formula is available for this one, and the formula is available for this one. Okay, so this is what is possible here. That is what you can do. Okay, so this is what you can do. Now that is how you can copy the formula row wise as well, and you can copy your formula column wise as well. Now I want to find the total of total. Okay, if I want to find this total of total here, so what can I do? I can simply select this cell and drag this value up until here. See, like this. So now you will get the total of total here. This is the total of your total. That what is the entire money? What is the entire money you are spending here? So this is the entire money we are spending in these 3 months here on these 5 expenses here. Okay, so this is what is possible, and that is how you can find your simple total here. Now in the same way you can find some other mathematical numerical values as well, such as let's say average. Okay, you can work on average as well. Okay, average is something you can find here. So how can I find the average? For average, you can write equals to here, and you can use the, see, if you press A here, automatically you will get a lot of these a lot of these functions here. Okay, now out of this I can use this average here. Okay, and after this average, inside this average, what I will be able to do, see, inside this one I will be able to pass the reference here. Okay, you can pass the reference here, and you can work on the reference. So my reference is this one B4. So B4, okay, and I can write B8. See, I will select entire data. That is called a range here. B4 to B8. Okay, so I will get all the data from B4 to B8, and then I will press enter here. See, that is the average. That is the average for all these 5 values here. Okay, then I can do the same for all these values as well, and you will get the average for these values as well. Okay, so that is what is possible here. That is how you can calculate the average of these expenses as well. That what is the average we are spending in these terms, and you can find the same average here as well. Actually, what you can do, you can do something like this. One second. You can calculate the average here. You can calculate the average on the basis of month here. Okay, you can calculate the average on the basis of month here. So I will select column B2. Oh no, not B2, B4. I will select the column B4, this particular cell, colon. Oh sorry, I will write something like average. You can write average function here, and inside the average function, you can pass your B4 cell colon D4 cell, and see, you will get the average of all these values. Okay, so this is the average you are spending in the rent wise. And if I copy this formula up until here, and that is the average you are spending in that way, and that is how you can calculate the average of total as well. See, that is how you can calculate the average of these values as well. Okay, so this is what is possible here. That is what you can do here. Okay, so that is how you can calculate the average. But on the basis of column wise, you can find the let's say maximum value, that where you are spending most of your money and where you are spending uh, less money here. Okay, so that is what is possible as well. You can find on the basis of maximum as well. Okay, so you can do, let's say, equals to, so I can use max function. You can use max function and I can write here um, b 4 colon uh, b8. Okay, so b8. Okay, so the maximum I am spending on this particular value here. So that is how you will be able to find out that what is the maximum you are spending and minimum you are spending, and I can copy this formula up until here. Okay, so that is what is possible here. This is how you can calculate all of these simple mathematical operations here as well. These are very helpful. Okay, these are very helpful whenever you try to make different kind of calculation sheets. Okay, whenever you try to make these different kind of sheets here, in that way these are very helpful here. In that way these are very helpful here. Okay, so this is what is possible here. That is what you can do here. Okay,